Hey everyone, welcome back. I've got great news for all the Nio fans, especially the Nio fans that live in the UK. Absolutely amazing news. The new Nio ET5 electric Saloon confirms for the UK in 2023. Now, the Chinese EV maker finally commits to the UK entry, bringing a Tesla Model 3 rival and a battery swap station. This is absolutely incredible. Nio is coming to the UK and I am super excited for this, especially coming as early as 2023. They're not wasting any time. Nio is going full expansion ahead into the European market and I'm absolutely here to celebrate and to support. So the growing brand known as Nio will make its UK debut late next year. That is unfortunate that it will be late next year, but hey, I'm still supporting them. The company founder and CEO William Li said that the Nio launch in Germany on Friday. The brand will launch with its mid-size Nio ET5 Saloon. Now, this is a rival vehicle to the Tesla Model 3. It's a rival to the Polestar too, so this is very exciting. And I'm sure there's a host of other EV companies out there that this vehicle will be rivaling them in many capacities. And other models more suited in size to the UK market, Lee said. We've got a statement from William Li, a quick quote. So, I think smaller cars like the ET5 and another schedule for production, Li told Autocars without naming the additional model. And I can take a guess that the additional model will most likely be an SUV, perhaps one of the smaller SUVs that Nio can offer. Now, Nio will also introduce battery swap stations in the UK to allow owners to change their batteries in around 5 minutes. That's absolutely amazing, giving the brand a useful selling point if it can install a decent size of network. The brand has identified a site in London for its signature Nio House plus size showroom, which will act as both a showroom for its model and a general hangout space. Following the pattern of the Nio houses in China, Norway and Germany, Nio is currently hiring staffs in the UK for its launch, including a brand manager and a sales manager. Now, the overall UK general manager was hired 3 days ago, said William Li, and no name has been given. Now, cars will be exclusively leased either for a fixed period or via a more flexible subscription model that will enable customers to hand back their vehicle with as little as a month notice. The subscription model has proven successful for Chinese brands such as Lynk & Co., partly owned by Geely, in establishing itself in a selective mainstream European market. Nio launched its brand globally in 2016 at an event in London, but it restricted sale initially to China. The brand's moved to Europe last year in Norway, where it also built the first battery swap station. Friday launched in Berlin marks the brand's expansion, not just in Germany, but also Sweden, the Netherlands and Denmark. Now, deliveries of the ET7 large saloon car will begin in October in Germany, with the EL7 large SUV and the ET5 following in March. No prices have been disclosed. Keep in mind as well, now recently Nio actually announced the reason why they changed the Nio's ES7 to the Nio EL7 in Europe. So you might have noticed that in some regions the ES7 is actually the EL7. It's the same SUV. It's the exact same vehicle, just slightly different name for different markets. And this makes sense. Nio has been making a global registration application for trademarks since 2016 and has obtained successful registration in China and most other markets, including Europe and United States. However, regrettably, Aldi has challenged the name of the Nio ES8 and the ES6 models and has initiated a lawsuit in Germany, Nio said. So in the view of the potential prolonged litigation and to avoid affecting the interests of customers in Europe, Nio has decided that it will now use the model name EL7 in Europe, the company said. So this lawsuit is something new to me, and it's probably one of those lawsuits that's going to take a long time to resolve. I actually initially thought that the name change was simply to make it simpler for Europeans to pronounce it. ES7 or EL7. I don't know which one is easier to pronounce or which one is easier to remember, but that was my initial thought. Now, with the name change, this lawsuit from Aldi, which argued that Nio naming strategy for the SUV using the ES lettering sounding similar to the S-Badge Sport range, which also coupled with a number of cars such as the Aldi S7 and the Aldi S8. Okay, that's quite interesting, but I don't think that's a big deal. I really don't think that's a big deal. I think if anything, the court will probably tell Aldi to relax and settle down. You don't own everything. But I think it was still a smart decision by Nio to change the name for European launching, because these things can be complicated. But the ES7 sounds nothing like an Aldi S7. But then again, very few information has really been given to the public on this subject. Now, with additional plans, betting on flexibilities, China's Nio will only rent cars in new EU markets. But what does this mean? Now, Nio will only lease its car when it launched in the 4 European market this year. Its CEO told Reuters on Friday, betting on the flexibility will be key to selling point as drivers switch to new technology. Users will be able to lease a car with 75 gigawatt-hour battery for approximately €1,199 per month. And that price could increase depending on the length of subscription, which can also be as short as a month. So the length of your subscription can indeed be as short as a month. The plan is the latest unconventional move by the company, which already allows customers to rent rather than buy the battery, the most expensive part of the electric vehicle. I think this was a brilliant idea by Nio to rent the batteries. While renting these batteries, they can also be insured. Now, it's brilliant for Nio because this can bring down the overall cost of the car. This could be a really good advantage for Nio in the European market and soon to be the American market when Nio officially launches in America. Nio is coming with plenty of new perspective, plenty of new decision, plenty of new innovation and new ideas. And I hope they get the opportunity to continue innovating. Because something that I've noticed recently, Chinese companies don't do particularly well in America as of recently. For some reason, whenever a Chinese company starts doing well in Europe or in the Americas, for some reason the governments in Europe and in America always seem to find a problem to have. And this tends to hinder said company. And there's always a reason. They always give us a reason, but to me it's not always justified because other automakers or other companies sometimes do the exact same thing. I remember when the Huawei phones were becoming extremely popular and the European governments, the European people, the Americans as well, they slowed that company down a lot. And for me, I've got a suspicious reason it was just to protect their own companies at home like Apple. Because Huawei was getting really big. They were having a great buzz and they were creating some wonderful phone with the best cameras on the market. They were real competition. But what we saw from our governments is that they slowed the company down. So I hope the European government and the American government do not interfere with electric vehicle companies such as Nio, because Nio could really bring great competition to the EV market. But that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more. And of course, I'll see you in our next video.